All right, welcome to another episode of Can You Connect? And this is Mr. Walk That Walk. And today's episode, we are going to be discussing the birds and the bees. Usually, families don't really have this conversation. Maybe it's like a fear tactic, or maybe it's like a just don't do it, or maybe we're just not going to have the conversation at all. It's rare when you have family that's kind of open to having that type of conversation with their children, but it's needed. It helps the children have a better understanding of themselves and a better understanding of how they want to come off or how they want to be. You know, and all of our experiences are influenced by our sexuality. And it usually comes from, your parents, your siblings, your peers, television, and the internet teach all these types of behaviors. However, when parents don't teach their children about sexuality and having a physical connection, then they reinforce to children that it's like having a physical connection or having that type of conversation is kind of like a secret, or it's a bad thing to talk about. And as children grow, they may become anxious about relationships and about their own bodies changing as well. However, when everything is fully explained about sexuality and a physical connection, then this can lead to a positive self image and self acceptance. But if not, if we're not saying that having a physical connection with somebody is not normal, then it's like they'll think the opposite is normal. They'll think having maybe being isolated is normal, maybe not even being interested in the sexuality, interested in their own sexuality, or interested in connecting with somebody else, because it's more normal for people to connect with people than for people not to connect with anybody. So, these are just some things I want us to think about. We're going to be staying on this topic for a little bit for like probably this is probably going to start off the new season, and we're going to stick with like sexuality for a few episodes. So we're just going to go over explanations, maybe when it's first introduced, who it might be introduced by, where it may be concerning about when it becomes introduced, and who it may first explore their sexuality with, whether if it's the same sex, opposite sex, whether it's waiting to have a physical connection, um, whether it's just talking about it. So those are kind of going to divvy out our next maybe 5 or 10 episodes, I believe. So just stay tuned. Hope y'all just be open to hearing out everything and listening to everything as well. But of course, we're going to be supporting some Black-owned businesses. I went to Atlanta recently, so there was a restaurant called the Food Shoppe. So their food was pretty decent. We got pretty late at night on the weekend. I think their food probably would have been better if we went there during the day and not super late at night, like as a late meal. But it was still decent. It was from what I remember, it was decent. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. But it was pretty good. But I'll be posting up some more restaurants, and I'll let you know maybe the top one. the top black-owned restaurant that we went to that was like, it tastes real good in Atlanta. There's more I have to go, maybe the next time I go down there, I know I missed some of the other good ones, so I'll definitely post those. If I go back, I'll try to hit up some different ones and not just the same ones. And of course, I do individual and couples therapy, and I'm licensed in the state of Maryland. So just send me an email, and I can also do behavioral health all throughout the US. So just working on changing negative behaviors to positive, or negative habits to positive habits. I can do that all throughout the US. So just send me an email if you're interested. And this will probably conclude this episode. Thank you for listening, and y'all have a good rest of the day and good rest of the night. All right. Our homes are homes. They feel empty. Our dreams are dreams. Slowly shattered. And our bodies bruised and battered. What does it take to become a legend? What can we do to teach a lesson? Is there a way for a future commitment? Oh, why do we wait to repaint the world? When the world loses its color, it's our goal to paint it back. Yeah, yeah. When the world loses its color, it's our goal to paint it back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Our emotions have grown. Our feelings have grown. Our beautiful women can't see the beauty in them. Our men are not standing strong. What does it take to become a legend? What can we do to teach a lesson? Whoa, is there a way for a future coming?